Every week we spend $20 without even thinking about it. And every week most tell themselves that amount isn't worth investing. What if I tell you that same $20 a week could eventually pay you over $4,800 a month? In this video, I'll show you exactly how that happens. We'll start with what this money is really meant to do, then walk through how dividend income grows, how reinvesting those payouts compounds over time, and why $20 a week is enough to change the outcome. And in the end, I'll show you a portfolio that can potentially turn $20 a week into over $800,000 and pays more than $4,800 a month in dividends. But before choosing investments, you need to know what the money is meant to do in real life. Growth sounds good, but growth alone doesn't pay bills unless you sell your investments. Income pays the bills. That's why the goal here isn't to beat the market or chase the highest returns. The goal is a steady monthly cash flow. Money that shows up whether the market is up or down. Cash flow reduces the pressure to work. It gives you options. It turns investing into something you can actually use. The target for this video is about $4,800 a month. For many people, that kind of income can cover rent or a mortgage, food, utilities, insurance, and still leave some breathing room. Can replace a paycheck or at least take pressure off of needing one. But that target doesn't really make sense if you still need hundreds or thousands or even millions of dollars just to get started. The whole idea here is to start small on purpose. That's why this starts with just $20 a week. For most people, that's easy to handle. It doesn't change how you live, and it's small enough to stay consistent, which is what actually drives results. With a small weekly amount like this, the strategy has to be simple. It has to work without big bets, perfect timing, or selling later just to make it useful. The money needs to start doing its job while you're still building. That's why dividends fit so well here. Dividend income only sounds complicated until you look at what's really happening. When you buy a dividend-paying stock, you're buying a small piece of a real business. When that business makes money, part of those profits gets paid out to the owners. That payout is the dividend. It's not extra. It's money the business already earned. That brings it down to one simple question. How much income does it actually produce? That's where dividend yield comes in. Yield is simply the income you receive compared to what you paid for the stock. In general, a yield somewhere around 3% to 5% is a solid range for long-term investing. It's high enough to produce real income, but not so high that it puts the business under stress. Yields that look unusually high often come with risk because they can be a sign the payout won't last. But yield alone isn't enough. What really matters over time is whether those payments grow. Dividend growth shows how fast the income increases year after year. Growth rate in the range of 6% and above is strong for long-term income. At that pace, a dividend that feels small at the start can double over time without you adding more money. There's also share price growth. As strong businesses earn more, their value tends to rise. Annual price growth somewhere in the mid-single digits to double digits is healthy over long periods. This doesn't just make the portfolio look better, it supports future dividend increases by keeping the business strong and competitive. The real power shows up when all three of those work together. Yield puts income in your hands today. Dividend growth increases that income over time, and price growth supports both by strengthening the business underneath. There's one more thing that really supercharges this kind of portfolio, and is something most people overlook. It's called DRIP, short for dividend reinvestment plan. This is where dividend investing starts to feel different. With DRIP, instead of taking your dividend payments as cash, you use them to buy more shares of the same investment automatically. A simple example makes this easier to see. Say, you own a stock priced at $20 per share, and you've built up 100 shares. The company pays a dividend of $2 per share each year. So at the end of the first year, you receive $200 in dividends. With DRIP turned on, that $200 is used to buy more shares. At $20 per share, you buy 10 additional shares. Now, instead of 100, you own 110 shares. In the second year, those extra shares start working with you. With 110 shares, paying $2 each, you receive $220 in dividends. That $220 gets reinvested, again buying 11 more shares. Now your total climbs to 121 shares. By the third year, the effect is clear. Those 121 shares now pay $242 in dividends, reinvested. That buys a little over 12 more shares. Without adding any new money, you've grown from 100 shares to more than 133 shares in just 3 years. That's the compounding effect in action. The income grows because the share count grows, and the share count grows because the income keeps getting reinvested. Each dividend payment increases the next one simply by being put back to work. Early on, the changes feel small, but they don't stop. Ownership grows, dividends grow, and each cycle feeds into the next. DRIP also removes emotion from the process. You don't decide when to buy. Dividends are reinvested whether prices are higher or lower. So when prices dip, your dividends can buy more shares. When prices rise, the shares you already own are worth more, and you benefit from share price growth. Now, in a couple of minutes, I'm going to show you the stocks for a portfolio that make this work faster. And in the end, I'll show you how that portfolio can potentially turn $20 a week into over $800,000 and pay more than $4,800 a month in dividends. On its own, DRIP steadily increases ownership. When you pair it with regular contributions like adding $20 a week, the compounding accelerates even faster. Reinvested dividends grow the base, and new money keeps the cycle moving. But none of this works if the stocks themselves can't support it. DRIP is simple, but it only works when the businesses behind it can keep paying and growing dividends for a long time. That's where stock selection matters. For this portfolio, I focus on 4 categories of dividend stocks. Each category serves a specific purpose in long-term compounding. The first category is blue-chip dividend stocks. These are established companies with long operating histories, strong brands, and steady cash flow. They sell products or services that people continue to use in any economic environment. That consistency supports reliable dividends and makes these stocks the foundation of the portfolio. The second category is dividend aristocrats. These are companies that have increased their dividends every year for at least 25 consecutive years through good markets and bad ones. That kind of track record shows discipline, growing profits, and a real commitment to paying shareholders. These stocks help keep income steady and protect purchasing power over time. The third category is high-yield dividend stocks. These provide more income earlier in the process, which helps speed up reinvestment. The goal isn't extreme yields, but payouts that are attractive and sustainable. Used carefully, these stocks increase cash flow without putting the whole strategy at risk. And the final category is growth-oriented dividend stocks. These companies may not offer the highest yield today, but they consistently grow earnings in dividends. Over time, dividend increases compound into meaningful income. These stocks drive future income growth rather than immediate payouts. When a stock fits at least 3 of these 4 categories, it becomes a strong fit for a drip-based portfolio. It means the company can pay income now, grow that income over time, and stay solid enough to keep doing it for years. Using that framework, this portfolio is built around 5 core holdings, each with a clear role. SCHD acts as the anchor. It gives broad exposure to high-quality dividend-paying companies and keeps the portfolio steady. It comes with a 3.59% dividend yield, 10.61% dividend growth over the past decade, and 9.23% annual share price appreciation. This sets a stable base that everything else can build on. PepsiCo adds predictable, long-term consistency. As a dividend aristocrat, it brings consumer strength and steady cash flow, pays a 3.94% dividend yield and has delivered 7.36% dividend growth and shows 5.37% annual share price appreciation. It's not flashy, but it does its job year after year. Federal Agricultural Mortgage Corporation brings the growth engine. The dividend yield sits at 3.41%, but what really stands out is the 25.08%, 8% dividend growth rate and 20.11% annual share price appreciation. That growth is driven by agricultural lending and long-term demand for food production, which helps push the portfolio's income higher over time. Merck's defensive healthcare income demand stays steady regardless of economic conditions, which helps stabilize the portfolio. It offers a 3.11% dividend yield, 6.63% dividend growth, and 8.44% annual share price appreciation, providing balance when markets get rough. Next Media Group rounds out the portfolio with strong cash generation and aggressive dividend growth. It delivers a 3.39% dividend yield, 25.62%, 62% dividend growth, and 16.56% annual share price appreciation. Combining income today with faster income growth for the future. The next step is to calculate the portfolio's overall dividend yield. To keep this easy to follow, we're assuming the portfolio is invested with equal weight in each stock. Start by listing the dividend yield of each holding. SCHD.
PI à 3.59% yield.
PepsiCo is at 3.94%. AGM sits at 3.41%.
Merck PI 3.11%.
And Nexstar comes in at 3.39%. Since each stock is weighted the same, all you do is add those 5 yields together. The total comes out to 17.44%. Then you divide that number by 5. Because there are 5 holdings in the portfolio, that gives you a portfolio dividend yield of 3.49%. This means that on average the portfolio pays about 3.49% in annual dividend income based on its total value. You can use this same approach to calculate the other portfolio metrics as well. Using the same simple average, this portfolio comes out to 15.06%, 6% dividend growth, and 11.94% average annual share price appreciation. Each holding fits multiple categories, which reduces reliance on any single stock. Together they strike a balance between stability, income, and growth. So let's see what this portfolio can actually turn into when you add $20 a week and let it run over the long term. In the first year, adding $20 a week over 52 weeks means you would have invested $1,040 into this portfolio. This sets the base for future growth. After 10 years, the portfolio is projected to be valued at around $22,334. At that stage, most of the growth would still be coming from the money added each week, with compounding just beginning to show up. Looking further out, after 20 years, the portfolio is projected to reach about $135,192. By then, dividends would be large enough to noticeably accelerate growth. The income itself starts doing more of the work. Finally, by year 30, projections show the portfolio growing to roughly $820,726. At that point, income becomes the main feature. Annual dividends are projected at about $57,830, which works out to roughly $4,819 per month without selling any shares. Over the full 30-year period, the total value added to the portfolio is projected to be about $789,526. Of that, roughly $487,472 would come from capital appreciation and about $32.54 would come from reinvested dividends. Want to see how a simple dividend portfolio can generate $1,000 a month, starting with as little as $2 a day? Click the video on the screen to see exactly how it's built.